Today is the first day of Eid, and for this day, people are supposed to go out, have fun with their friends, and enjoy a day. But frankly, it's been a year since I went out with friends, and it was last not last Eid. It was the Eid before the last one. And even when I used to go out with them, I didn't actually enjoy it much. I always felt that wherever I go, my presence is the same as my absence. This feeling is always chasing me. I always feel that I don't make a difference where I'm sitting right now, people around me, and I don't make any difference. They don't wait for me to come or to talk. I always feel that for them, my presence is the same as my absence. If they called me and I said that I'm not coming, it won't make any difference. If I actually came, it won't make any difference. I'm not sure why do I actually feel that. Recently, I was in some sort of self-discovery phase in my life where I was trying to remember who I really was and how I was as a kid. What did I love to do? What was fun? Just to know what would I like to do in the future. I noticed that, uh, frankly, not as I wasn't like many kids my age. I didn't have a consistent fear of the things that other kids are supposed to be afraid of, like darkness. I was afraid of darkness for a phase of my life, but not for so long. But it wasn't the worst of my fears. I also used to, I once developed a fear of devils and ghosts because of a nightmare that I had when I was young. But it wasn't a constant fear, it wasn't my worst fear. I used to watch horror movies without any problem. And when one of my family members used to see me watching horror movies on the TV casually without being afraid or scared of anything, they used to make fun of that. But in some phase in the film industry, in the horror films industry, movies started, or horror movies started moving from being intense, graphic, full of bloody and scary scenes to being mentally terrifying. Movies started being like horror started being mental, not physical, not like for the horror movies industry, it started growing intensity. The more people got used to it, the more intense it became, the more graphic, But then it turned into just being mentally terrifying, and that reminded me of my worst fears. That one thing that I feared the most was always being alone. And looking back at it, I was afraid of being alone, and right now I am alone. I live in a house of a family of 5 members, two parents, and I'm one of 3 brothers, and I feel alone. Right now, they are on a family reunion where I'm not present because I don't like family reunions, and I feel lonely. And maybe I feel lonely because that's what I choose. I chose not to go there with them. So, but even before that, I felt lonely. I was supposed to normally go out with my friends today, but since there's no friends, I didn't go with anyone. Frankly, I can't call any of the people that I once knew as a friend. Throughout my life, people came, people went, and all of them like had his own era or his own phase. And right now, I can't call any one of them as a friend. Maybe they were just acquisitions or just faces that I saw or people that I was with through some phase of my life, but I can't name any real friend of mine. And today I feel that uh, my worst fears is maybe stronger than I once read that we attract what we fear, and by not choosing to go to by choosing not to go to the family reunion, I guess I chose to be lonely or more lonely than I was. But I'm not sure if I'm attracting what I feel. I know that I'm not that very interesting person to be with. I know that I'm very boring, very boring with sum up. I know I'm hard to love. I know it's a hard time being with me, especially for the way I act around people. I might say that people may believe that I'm some sort of an arrogant person, but I'm not very arrogant, actually. When someone talks to me, I feel when I'm in like a group of people and someone points to me and talks to me, and I'm supposed to reply, I feel like my head is jammed, like my brain just stopped. I don't know what to say, and it's like as if I'm in a test and I need to say the right answer. Well, I didn't notice that. I noticed that my brain goes blank whenever someone talks to me and I'm supposed to reply, but I never thought of the reason why would that happen. Maybe because I was wish to say the right answer. Where it isn't actually a test. So I have a right answer and a wrong one. Overall, I always feel my hand jammed. I always say the easiest thing that come to my mind. Maybe that's the reason they may saying that I'm arrogant, because I'm not very good at communication. And it's weird being a human, because we humans are a social specimen, and I'm not very social. I wish to be very social. I hope that one day I would have people around me, or maybe just someone around me. Not sure if I will, but I mentioned earlier in this video that I was in a self-discovery phase, and recently moving from this phase to another phase that where I'm trying to understand my emotions, trying to understand how I feel. One of my emotions is loneliness. I always feel lonely. I always go to college alone, sit alone, attend the lecture or the section alone, seeing friend groups all around me, seeing people that don't just go to college to learn or study, but there's some sort of social motivation for them. I get up every day without a motivation. I have no one to have my back, and no one to impress, no one to improve for, and basically no one to make proud. So I just, most of the time I skip college, but maybe if I had someone, some sort of a friend to go with, or even to meet there occasionally, I wouldn't skip college very much. I would be motivated to go there to, you know, a lecture is hard, and with someone it won't be very hard. It will be easier. Hardships are always easier with someone. Yeah, I hope someday I will taste the taste of having someone to take some of my hardships, or to share some of our hardships. Growing up, I love watching movies, TV series, and playing video games, these sort of things. And recently, I feel very bored when I do so. Yeah, playing video games is fun and all, but I wish to have someone playing with me. I wish to have someone watching this movie with me, or even to tell him that I watched the movie, and just share my opinion about it, or just say it. But there's no one around me. I like I see people that they want to do something and they need someone with them. They just call someone or tell someone and they do the thing with them. But whenever I want to do anything, I'll have anybody tell come with me. And if I told someone, he wouldn't. But as I said, I'm not very interesting. I'm a very boring person. People see me arrogant or frustrating, maybe. I might be looked at as a depressed person or something like that. Not sure. Maybe that's a problem because of the way I wanted to. I wanted people to befriend me when I was in primary school. I always wanted people to, in the when there's a friend group and there are people that you call your friends and there are people that you call your best friends. Like you go harder trying to convince someone to come and hang out. You go harder with this one than the rest of them. I always wanted people to treat me like that, to go harder to convince me to be with them, but no one did. So maybe I tried to do this, try to befriend everyone at the same time and try to convince everybody to be by my side, but no one liked being by my side because, again, I'm not very interesting. So I'm not sure if we attract what we fear. Maybe we fear what we attract because we know that we attract this thing. If you grew up around flowers your whole life, flowers won't be as interesting as for someone who never saw them. I think that I attract my fear. I think that I fear what I attract, with which is being lonely. I need to aim to not be lonely in the future and maybe go to family reunions where I won't do so much of a good social job, but at least it'll be something. At least I'll be around people instead of just sitting in here alone, not knowing what to do. So I just record a video, maybe record a series of videos about this current phase of my life where I try to understand my emotions. I call this search for salvation. I want to be rescued from my emotions. And by rescued, I mean I need to understand them. I need to aim to do better, go to the reunions, trying to understand the people around me and trying to learn how to make a real friend, how to make people like me by being me, not by acting. And at the same time, I need to accept the fact that I'm not a very interesting person and I have lots of bad values, or not values, maybe bad traits in my character. I'm not very strong, I'm fragile. I'm very fragile, actually. I need to accept this, and I need to accept the fact that I may be alone for the rest of my life. I may have a friend or two in my life, but I'm not sure about it. That's first off. And second, they might also be just phases in my life that won't repeat again. And I need to accept the fact that maybe if I had friends in the future or had someone in the future, maybe I'll lose them by being very boring and being fragile actually isn't that much of a perk in a friend. I might make friends, but I need to accept that I might also lose them and accept the fact that I might not make any friends. I'll call this phase in search for salvation, in search for understanding my emotions, understanding my feelings, and stuff like that. And I think that I also need to accept the fact that I might not understand my emotions or my feelings. This this might take few days, might take several days, weeks, months, years, or my whole lifetime without a solution. Why do I feel lonely? Why very boring and not interesting? Why am I very fragile and a weak character? Why do I actually feel like I need someone? Like I'm proving the fact that I'm not enough for myself. So why would I be enough for anyone if I'm not enough for myself? Lots of questions, and I need to accept that I might not find the answer of each one of them because of the fact that each answer might have multiple questions chained to it. Search for salvation. I'm not looking forward to be saved from my emotions, but being saved from myself. And I'm not even sure that my emotions are real. Maybe my emotions are myself, and myself is my emotions. Looks like it's going to be a long run, and I hope that even if I didn't come out of this phase with what I wished to come out with, I hope that at least I come out better. And maybe someday I'll be happier, whether I'm with someone, some group, or just myself.